Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to your new Jackrabbit Illustrated B-Team spin-off show.
Scared money don't make money.
That's right, folks. Scared money don't make money. The spin-off show from the B-Team with Ben and Brendan making their picks against the spread just like old times, with the addition of Alex Kenkel and his computer model that is featured weekly on JackrabbitIllustrated.com. As usual, the B-Team and all Jackrabbit Illustrated podcasts are live on the Jackrabbit Illustrated Facebook and Twitter pages, along with being live on the SDS Fans Nation YouTube channel. Also, if you don't catch us live, be sure to tune in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or any major podcast outlet in between. As always, the B-Team is brought to you by our title sponsor, Kubota Dealers of South Dakota. If you need a tractor, utility vehicle, construction equipment, zero-turn motors, parts, service, and more, there's always a Kubota dealer near you with 8 locations across the great state of South Dakota. Stop in today and get yourself into some orange equipment. And we would also like to thank our segment sponsor, Cubby's Sports Bar and Grill in downtown Brookings. If the Jacks are out of town and you need a place to watch them, head on down, get some Chislick cheese curds, beer, and burgers. And now, without further ado, scared money don't make money. What is up, all you beautiful people? Thank you for joining us here at Jackrabbit Illustrated. As always, we are live on Facebook and Twitter for Jackrabbit Illustrated, and also live on the FCS Fans Nation YouTube. As always, Jackrabbit Illustrated is brought to you by our title sponsor, Kubota Dealers of South Dakota, with 10 locations across the great state of South Dakota. There's always an orange dealer near you, so thank you to Kubota Dealers South Dakota for sponsoring us. They've got all your equipment you may need for your home, acreage, and or ranch. They got everything under the sun there with the best equipment around. And we are, of course, Scared Money Don't Make Money. In our title our show sponsor is Cubby Sports Bar and Grill, downtown Brookings, with all the burgers, Chislick, beer, and more that you may need. They are your Jackrabbit headquarters, the best sports bar in the state. They've got TVs everywhere. I think the patio may finally be closed down. I don't have any confirmation on that. That's just an assumption with the current weather situation. Cubby Sports Bar and Grill, they are the place to go, and we are honored to have them as a sponsor of Jackrabbit Illustrated and Scared Money Don't Make Money. Boys, it's coming down to the wire. It's the last week. Playoffs are left. If you got ground to make up, you better make it up in the picks in the first round, or you're really starting to die on the vine. How are we doing, fellas?
Yeah, Benjamin, what does standings look like?
Oh, let's go ahead and update those real quick.
I thought I did that like Sunday.
First place. In
Alex
first place, we have Alex. He's doing rather well, 52, 41, and 2. In second place, lone second place, me, this guy, 45, 48, and 2, almost to 500. In third place, we have Brendan at 44, 49, and 2. Game back of me. And then a game back of Brendan, we've got the Kenkel model at 43, 50, and 2. The Kenkel model better hope it finds something here in the last week of the regular season or the first week of the playoffs. Otherwise, it's in trouble. And Alex is going to be running for the mayor of Brookings. It's gonna be
Mayor
great.
Alex will be fantastic. Then we'll be able to have the Mayor of Vermilion and the Mayor of Brookings on at the same time. That'd be gas.
That would be fun.
Not to get into garage time way too early here, but my wife hates that I do this. But not to get
the podcast in general or what?
Yeah. Yes. No, but actually, so back when they were having the COVID hearings or whatever in Brookings, we won't get into the weeds on that. But there's this guy that comes up to the podium because I had no desire to watch it. My wife had it on. And one of those things, your wife has it on in the room, you're watching it. So there's this guy that comes up to the podium and he goes, "You're all focused on the wrong things. You know what this real problem in this town is?" And it's like, where is this guy going to go with this? And he goes, "We don't have anything for the children anymore. We need to cut down all the trees and bring back Larson Sledding Hill." He's like pounding the podium. And so now at like the homecoming parade or the hobo day parade or festival of lights, any politician that walks by, even if it's like a state or federal politician, I just scream at them, bring back Larson Sledding Hill. So I've already got my platform if I should have to run for mayor of Brookings.
I like it.
Well, you already got one guy's vote. I know that.
Right. The hill is there, Chad. It's just covered in pine trees. That was what the guy wanted. He wanted to chop down all the pine trees that were probably put there because those that don't know, behind the Larson manufacturing plant, there's a huge hill, and they have since put an access road in there. So naturally, I assume they didn't want kids just hauling ass into the street, but
I love
You
it.
got to say that's an effective way to shut down a sledding hill. More effective than trying to run out and stop them all the time. Fine. We're going to put some trees there. Have some fun losing your teeth for the first year and see how fun that is.
right.
It's like sledding in Wisconsin. You got to find the right hill, and you better learn how to turn on that sled, or you're going to be having dental work.
All right. Well, should we recap the picks from last week?
Sure. God, you're in second place out of nowhere, and you sound all depressed.
Right.
Should we go over?
May as well.
Here's the deal.
Oh, guys. Okay, Eeyore.
You guys recap the picks. I got to finish up JIA. I'm putting it into the slideshow here.
Well, let me get the old.
I got her up. So,
you go for it.
Abilene Christian came through, beat Tarleton 35-31. They were -3. Ben got that right. I got it right. Alex got it right. And the computer got it wrong. Wah, wah. Sad computer noises. That was a big one, obviously, for the UAC. Abilene Christian's in good shape. Tarleton.
Well, they have the auto bid now. That clinched the auto bid for them.
Yep. And Tarleton's done nothing but piss down their leg ever since they put out the tweet when the top 10 was announced by the committee, taking notes.
Because they were like 9 or 10 or whatever.
They weren't even in the top 10. They were pissed.
Oh, they weren't.
Yeah, and they showed how angry they were by proving the committee right.
Losing two of their next 3.
Yeah, going 1 for 3. That's how you get in the top 10, baby. Then we got Montana State, UC Davis. It was a 7-point spread. I took Montana State. Ben took Montana State. Alex took Montana State. The computer took Davis, and Davis covered, and I was kind of pissed because they backdoor cover that game. And then they don't, if you're going to backdoor cover on me and screw up my pick, win the game. So I'm happy about it. And instead, they throw an interception for the 2-point conversion, and that game was over. They gave Montana State a huge lead at the start of that game, and then clawed back, and that was unfortunate.
I don't know what Hastings saw in that play, and that's not a takeaway. Hastings played a fantastic second half, but it looked like that ball was going to Larson no matter what, and he knew it, the linebacker knew it, and the safety that ended up the football obviously knew it too. That was such a tight window. It wasn't a window. There was
no window. It was a wall. No. there was enough Montana State defenders there for it to be considered a wall. I mean, he might as well have had their whole D-line stand in front of him, throw it into their chests. He'd probably had better luck there because a defensive lineman would have been less likely to catch it.
Deflected it back to himself and could have tried to run it in or something.
Yeah, right. Murray State and Kentucky, 49.5-point spread. We all got this wrong. We thought Kentucky could cover, and somehow – and against the Racers, somehow they did not cover. They only won 48-6 at a baby. Mike, good teams win, great teams cover, buddy, and they covered. So that was fantastic. You and I, Youngstown State, it was 6-point spread. We all took Youngstown State except for the Pooter. The computer's got more wins when we're wrong than we have when the computer's wrong so far. So that was 39-38. Youngstown State went for 2 in overtime to seal that game when they didn't have to. It was the first overtime, if I remember right. They didn't have to go for 2, but they wanted to end the game there, and they did. So that is the second game Youngstown State's won in overtime. on a 2-point conversion, even though the 2-point conversion they won on against UND was because UND did not convert. So then we had the battle of the ISUs, the Redbirds versus the Trees, 14.5-point spread. And of course, it was another goddamn backdoor cover by the Trees to screw me on my picks. And that is the one that tilted it in Ben's favor this week to give him a leg up on me and for him to go 4-4 and me to go 3-5 along with Alex. So Alex has a big lead, but he only went 3-5 last week. So
that one was huge for me. I needed
that was the one. I mean, if that flips, I think we might be tied this week. And
ISU just like stopped playing halfway through the third quarter. Yeah, we're up 31-9. Let's pack it in.
I got screwed by 3 backdoor covers this week, and I'm still mad about it.
I don't know you can consider Davis a backdoor cover.
Yes, it was. It was a 7-point spread, and they scored the touchdown to get within 8.
A backdoor cover is like the game doesn't matter, but they score the points to close the spread. That game, if they get that 2-point conversion, that game goes to overtime.
Counts.
I agree. It's a backdoor cover when they cover that
Thank
late.
You. Yeah, it's
because they were down by 21 going into the fourth quarter.
I'm not going to win this one, so we'll just move on.
You're not. So you sit in your corner. You'll never convince me. Then USD and UND. I think everybody knows how that one went.
That was a backdoor
USD. I get backdoor covered again by UND. You dirty, rotten bastards. If you're gonna lose and not give me the victory that I so crave for you, then don't screw up my picks. That's my rule. And they did it. The Trees did it. And Davis did it. I'm not happy with any of those people. NDSU, though, the one I was most emphatic on that was absolutely going to happen, absolutely happened. I think at the end of the first quarter, Missouri State had 17 yards of offense, or 12. Yeah, I don't know. It was in the teens. Not good. And it was like 21-0.
They went fumble on a first down, 3 and out, 3 and out. That was how they started the game.
Yeah. So successful, not. And then SDSU, I almost got backdoor covered again on this one. At
you
the
gotta
end.
Stop saying backdoor. The comments are going crazy.
Backdoor.
I'm not showing any of them.
See,
I said I'm not showing any of them.
Thanks, Zach. Yeah, see, being screwed by backdoors is terrible. It is.
Y'all are sick.
It's awful. Y'all disgust me. I keep getting screwed by backdoors and I'm sick of it. Couldn't even walk right on Sunday.
All right.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
We're 10 minutes into this thing.
Anyways, so that's how that went. Yeah, it was a lot of wood, Rev. It was unfortunate.
SIU almost did get a backdoor cover against us.
See, you're telling me to stop saying it, but I'm right.
Well, it's true. I mean, we were covering easy, and then they almost pulled that one out. Anyway, let's. I already recapped the standings. That's good. All right, let's just jump. Well, I gotta go JIAI since I was working on that, and it is
brought to you by Blue Tide Car Wash. Looking to get a car wash? Go see our folks at Blue Tide, Brookings, Sioux Falls locations. Best deal for your buck. They have. What's the guarantee? They'll get all the bugs off. Is that it?
If it's not satisfactory clean, you can go back through.
That's free. Right. I almost had a perfect ad read there. But thank you, Rick Jensen.
The way that started, it sounded like Rick and Morty interdimensional
cable.
Hey, you want your car clean? Go down to Blue Tide Car Wash. They'll get it real clean for you. And yeah, go on. They got a guarantee. What's the guarantee? Oh yeah, that it'll be clean. You go back there again.
Anyhow, thank you, Rick Jensen. Thank you, Blue Tide Car Wash. If you need your vehicle cleaned, it's getting to be cold here, getting salt down on the roads. Go see the fine folks at Blue Tide for a spotless clean on your vehicle.
You're the Blue Tide Car Wash guy forever. I never want to read that again because that was awesome.
I gotta do what Dallas does and get Chat GPT to write me a script while everyone else is talking and not just wing it.
Hey, it's see, winging a ad read is harder than it looks.
I never said it wasn't.
Blue Tide would probably also clean your back door.
Yes, they will.
They
And if
will
they miss
clean
a
the rear
spot, you
hatch
can go
of your
back through and
vehicle.
they'll re-clean your back door. You got screwed by your back door and it's a mess. They'll come and clean it for you.
Rick is never giving us any money again.
Give me those coupons back. Get out of here. You guys disgust me.
And is Blue Tide actually sponsor the JIAI segment?
But
They're the
do now.
segment sponsor for the show, and that's the only segment we have on this show.
Oh, poor Blue Tide. Well, we do love Blue Tide Car Wash, and it sounds like Jesse reported that their location in Mitchell is now open. So
Nice.
go check that out if you're
Jesus,
traveling on the
get
interstate. Okay.
Comment. Oh my god.
We can't read that.
No, we're moving on.
We can.
The people are gonna have to go pause it if they want to read that one.
Or find out the live stream on YouTube.
God, we're getting mileage out of this, huh?
Yeah, this might just be the permanent
what's the A stand
Title
for?
slide.
Title slide for JIAI.
I was disappointed. You played that clip and nobody mentioned that was from Red versus Blue, and it made me a little bit sad.
I knew it was. I just thought everybody knew.
Thought we'd get higher marks. Instead, we're going with Brendan's hairy cleavage for JIAI's title. So
for
the listeners out there, you can have the mental image of my serious face, and this looks photoshopped.
It does. That's why I love it.
Looks like you.
Yeah, but it's real. It's 100% real.
See, that's what happens. And then you get screwed by backdoor covers.
It happens. First off, we had Abilene Christian taking the Grimace Championship and transforming into Grimace Wildcat.
The halfway transformation thing is off-putting.
He and also looks like
he looks
he's
like the guy from Scary Movie 2. Take my strong hand.
That's true. It does have a little strong hand. We had the Wildcats taking down the Murray State Racers in the Kentucky
That's
Derby.
not a Wildcat. That is
It's a blue Wildcat.
No, it's not.
That's a Chupacabra.
That's a freaking horror movie. Is what that is. That's from that chases you down the halls in a horror movie.
It's a Chupacabra.
That's what AI thinks a Wildcat is.
And it's all elbows and knees scabbering down the hallway at you is what that is.
We had the Penguins giving Farley the unceremonious exit from the valley. We had the Redbirds claiming they are the real ISU in the ISU battle with Indiana State.
That's not a Redbird. That's more of a cardinal color.
It's a cardinal.
It's a red bird. Shut it.
No, it's cardinal.
Moving
color.
on.
It's a cardinal.
We had USD winning against UND and a Jackrabbit giving the Dakota marker. No, not the Dakota marker. It's the Timu Dakota marker made in Malaysia. If you look closely, it's not the real thing because they don't play for a trophy at all. Shout out to Joe for that one. We had the Missouri State Bears losing to the Bison and saying, "Yeah, well, we're going FBS and you're not." And lastly, okay, this is supposed to be tears.
Sir, what is this? What is this?
It's Stone Labanowitz crying because SIU lost. And I
also
swear,
like how Stone is number S. S for
6.
Stone.
I think is a 6 there. Anyway,
No,
I put in that he was crying. I cannot control what AI does.
That looks sticky.
I know it does.
It looks so sticky.
I know what it looks like. Anyway,
there's a whole genre for that.
What Reese said, I don't know animals or animal facts.
Correct. That's why I'm here.
All right. See, Ray loves it. That's why we do it. All right.
He does.
This week we've
20 minutes
got.
into the show. Should we talk some football?
Let's
We
do
talked
it.
football for the whole first part. It was all the games that happened.
It was
That's fair. We did talk a little bit already, but
a little bit. This week, hey, Nate, I am very close to being 50-50.
Listen here, Nate.
just this guy.
What percentage are your picks at, sir?
Yeah. Have you picked every single game, even though you don't want to?
Tell you what, my spicy meatballs, that's a pretty high percentage.
That's true. You could probably start selling that pick.
Yeah. If I could read, I'd be able to.
If you could read?
I don't know. It made sense in my head, and now it
All
doesn't.
right. Well, we've only got one out of conference game this week.
No comment, Damien.
One out of conference. Yeah, we have a ref here, and he
We have
can't.
a ref here.
He can't stop it.
The ref let it go for too long, and now he can't get the game back under control.
Yeah. All right. We have one out of conference game, and it is a massive one. And there is debate on how massive it is.
So are we not doing the other one then?
No, we're not. I
Ben
mean, we
hates the
can,
OVC.
but I would have to go.
Fine.
What is it? Is it important?
Ben hates the OVC. It's fine.
Yeah, he hates the OVC.
We can do it.
No. Ben has been for the last 2 weeks he went from I need some extra picks to catch up to
Yeah, to like
we're not doing
we should do
we're
any more
not we don't
games.
do,
Yeah,
I think
peek behind the curtain. I actually
extra.
will suggest like, hey, this game could be kind of interesting. And Ben is always like, nope, just rank games.
Nope, just rank matchups. That's all I care about. It's the integrity of the program. That's what I'm worried about here.
It really
It
is.
has nothing to do with anything else. I'm not holding up this lead like
That's very true. And
I'm not running for mayor of Delaware.
don't mind whether I just tail the model through the rest of the year. No, we will pick that game. And so the first game we're going to pick is Semo going to Tennessee State, and Semo is a 5.5 point favorite on the road.
Model says Semo by 3.3, so it will take Tennessee State to cover. I don't know. This is tough. Semo is probably the better team, but they haven't played like it the last 3 weeks. And Tennessee State is playing better football right now. And what's at stake here for those that maybe don't follow nationally, more of our SDSU fans that listen. So Semo wins, they're probably a top 8 seed. Tennessee State wins, that probably puts them in the field. They lose, they're probably out. So pretty big implications for both teams here. I think Tennessee State's going to want it more. I think the Fighting Eddie Georges get it done. I will also take them along with the model.
Yeah, I'm going to take Tennessee State here. I have no faith in Semo may win, but I'm taking Tennessee State because Semo just is not. It's been unimpressive of late.
4 weeks.
Yeah, they went from potentially a top 8 seed to I don't know. So I'm going to take Tennessee State to cover. You give me 5 points there, I'm going to take it.
I will as well. You can't lose to Lindenwood like that right after you get put in the top 6 of the playoff rankings. That was just brutal. Next game what's that?
We bullied Ben to pick that game, then all 4 of us went the same way on it.
Yeah, a lot of good that did. Next game, like I was saying, has a lot of implications. There is debate on how much. We've got Montana going to Montana State, the Brawl of the Wild. Montana State is an 11.5 point favorite at home. And if they lose, SDSU gets the 2 seed. Right, Brendan?
No.
Oh.
I don't. That's locked up. I just don't. I don't. I mean, you guys can be mad about it. It's just, if we were Montana State fans, we would absolutely disagree with that. Undoubtedly disagree with
I think that both sides have an argument.
So Because we were debating this before the show started, and then that's part of why we were late. Said say it for the show.
Yep.
So in that meantime, I pulled up Sam Herder's handy dandy resume sheet. If assuming we win, assuming Montana State loses, Montana State will be 10-1 in countable games, 2 ranked wins, 1 FBS win. We will be 9-1 in countable games. And sorry, I forgot to mention for Montana State, those are both then and currently ranked wins. We will be 4 then ranked wins, 3 currently ranked wins. Our strength of schedule is 6th. Montana State's is 22nd. Our what do they call that? Like the opponent's strength of schedule, whatever record. Our whatever you call that would be 57 and 52. Montana State's would be 46 and 63.
I mean, the point is, there's an argument, in my opinion. Brendan, you're muted.
That's because I've been hacking. I got a tickle all of a sudden.
Brian, we use the Reddit FCS Sportsbook because that's the only place that has lines posted this early.
Yeah, it's not our preferred. Like, if we'd get it from an actual sports book if we could, but they don't have the lines up.
Most weeks anyway. Maybe they do this week from the Montana State. I hadn't looked.
What I'm saying is I see arguments both ways, but I think there's some recency bias where if you look at past years, with us being the 2-time defending champs, that will carry some weight even when it shouldn't. I'll admit it shouldn't, but if you look at past years, it's just going to.
I think the thing that could sway it is it would be the last game of the season they have a loss. And
yeah, the recency bias, I think,
feel that if you lose, you have to drop.
Which isn't necessarily true, but
right. But that is the way a lot of people react. To me, though, I mean, I don't know. That Davis win, I would say, is comparable to beating USD. Just with,
I would agree. That's fair.
And that was on the road. I know we get to say that Incarnate Word is, as of right now, a top 10, team.
I think that win is comparable to their Idaho win.
Because of how injured Idaho was, I would even argue it's a little tougher, but we don't need to get that deep into the woods.
Right. And FBS wins do matter, and at the time it looked awful. But New Mexico just beat number 18 Washington State. You could argue that New Mexico has bigger wins than Oklahoma State did this year so far. And they won against them. I mean,
Dallas keeps talking about is that a bad loss, not to get too off track, but we officially passed them in Sagarin and Massey this week. It's officially a bad loss. But anyhow.
Speaking of Sagarin, New Mexico's all the way down at 111th.
Yeah, they're not good still, but
yeah, still. I mean, but that being said, they still have better. They're probably gonna be bowl eligible.
Yeah,
that's a solid. It's not a. I mean, it's better than Colorado State was the year we hammered them.
Oh, definitely. I wouldn't argue that.
If you're looking at that, I mean, you have an FBS win and you're lining that up with a D2 win when you have less D1 wins.
Or are you lining that up with a Missouri State and UND win?
UND, are we really going to use that? Are we really hanging a hat on that?
No, but the committee does historically look at then ranked wins. I agree.
That's like teams that got to play Sac State in the earlier of the year hanging their hat on that ranking. Like, we all know that that's farcical.
Also,
but, Brendan, what I'm trying to say is I'm not arguing it from Alex, Ben, and Brendan discussing it. Because if it's Alex, Ben, and Brendan discussing it, I agree that UND win doesn't mean shit. But at the criteria the committee has laid out there, it does matter.
In the
And
end,
Ron's getting all fired up saying this discussion's for nothing because they're not losing to the Grizz.
well, he's probably right. I don't think they're
You're
losing.
right.
I mean, we're arguing about this, but historically, the last couple of years, the home teams won by like $1 billion, and Montana State's favored by 11.5 in this game. So we're wasting a lot of wind on something that is far less likely to happen than, say, USD upsetting NDSU. Like, that's far more likely to happen than I think Montana winning at Montana State, especially if Ayat trots out there for any part of that game.
So Brian here says that Larson was interviewed today. He said, your season resume and SOS is what matters most. If they take SOS into account heavily and Montana State loses, then it very well could be us.
The thing is, and I agree, it's roughly 20 spots for SOS. And you would think that Montana's SOS will go up a little more after playing Montana than it would go down.
Probably a little bit, but
a little.
It becomes a fairly, I mean, I don't know. I don't look at these two schedules and go, oh, we had a way tougher schedule. Wow.
I also agree with this.
Compare the two.
I agree with this comment from Damien saying that, we need the Grizzlies or Coyotes to win big. I think if either of those teams loses, it depends how they lost. If Montana State loses by 10 or more, then I say for sure we get the 2 seed. If it's a close loss, I think it'll be a coin flip. Same with NDSU. If for some reason USD beats them by 20, I think that changes things. But I don't think either of those are likely to happen.
Anyhow, let's get some picks so we keep going with this show.
Let's do that.
Set 11.5.
Yep.
Yes.
Model says, what's that Red Solo Cup parody Montana State has? I totally blew it. Anyhow, Montana State by 12.3. So it's going to take the Cats. And once again, to completely nullify our entire discussion, you look at both teams this year. You look at recency bias in the Brawl of the Wild. Yeah, I think the Cats cover by 11.5 pretty easy. I don't really see how Montana State can stop their rushing offense. I'll be curious to see how the other side of the ball goes, but I really think they will wear them down and just grind them to a pulp.
Yeah, I think the Cats wear them out and win by 20 or more. That's my prediction. We have this whole discussion, and it would be great if Montana State did lose and SDSU gets the 2 seed. I don't want to give this impression that I don't want that. I just hate
it's not realistic.
Yeah.
It's fun to argue, though. I'll also take
definitely.
Montana State.
Yeah.
Another clean sweep.
So hopefully you were really invested in the last 10 minutes that we talked about that for something we really don't think's happening.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we've got Murray State going to Southern Illinois. And if I remember right, both of these teams are searching for their first conference win this year.
Adam has correct? A good idea. I like this. This is almost this might be up there with the mayoral candidate.
I'll do that for fun.
Shut up, Alex.
That would be fun.
You're not supposed to like it. Chuck the pigskin all the way back to when Wisconsin was hiring for offensive coordinator, and that guy put in his resume for Madden.
That was awesome.
Anyway,
anyhow,
we have, like I said, Southern Illinois and Murray State both searching for their first conference win. Oh, no, sorry. Southern Illinois does have one. Northern Iowa is the one that doesn't have one.
Someone didn't read by the numbers again.
I skimmed through it. Anyway, Southern Illinois is a 15-point favorite at home.
15?
Mm-hmm.
Model says Southern Illinois, but only by 14.8. Racers cover. Michael can correct me if I'm wrong, but way back when Murray was getting added to the conference and I was being kind of a whiny baby about it on a message board, one of the Southern Illinois fans said, Well, you owed us a favor for basketball, and our schools are actually pretty close. This is a basketball rivalry. It might become a football rivalry, too. So I don't know if that's true or not, if this is a basketball rivalry. Like I said, feel free to chime in, Michael. But using that without knowing it for sure as complete justification, I'll say it's a rivalry game. It's going to be closer than expected. Southern Illinois wins. Murray covers.
I'm going to take Murray to cover as well. Is Southern Illinois still on their fifth string quarterback going into this game now? Or
yeah, last I heard, Curry's done.
Yeah, I think the Racers managed to cover in this one. I don't think they win, but I think you could see a lot of points in this game, just because Murray State's defense is just not good, and their offense can move the ball on lower, mid-range defenses to lower defenses. So I think Murray State can keep it at 2 touchdowns or less. Yeah, give me the Racers.
Zach McKinnell commented that Southeastern Louisiana just hit a game-winning field goal to keep the playoff hopes alive. So that's exciting.
Well, and that I don't know what the playoff committee gets for updated rankings Saturday night, but that could potentially bump them to a ranked win because they're receiving votes in lots of polls.
Mm-hmm.
That could be interesting. I will also take Murray State. I think they got a chance to win this one. Southern Illinois, I just don't. With that quarterback situation they got going, that guy that came in that was a graduate assistant. Yeah, he did not look good. So I'll take Murray State's cover there. 15's too many. We have Indiana State going to Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa is a 9-point favorite at home.
Model says Panthers, but by 7.7. So that means I think Panthers win one for Farley, but Trees cover. I'll agree. I don't think Northern Iowa is good enough to beat anyone by 2 scores, to be perfectly blunt. And Indiana State's been playing decent. I do hope the Panthers win and send Farley out on a high note. But they're not covering 9. It's not happening.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, and the Trees have been playing fairly well for Indiana State of late. So I know it's at home. I'm sure it'll be very emotional for Northern Iowa in this game. They did give her a hell of a run against Youngstown State. But even them playing their very best and emotional, I don't see them as blowing anybody out or walking away with the game. So I think they win by a touchdown, but that's about it.
I'm surprised you didn't go with the spicy meatball here, because I'll take Indiana State to win outright. I think and I think Indiana State's decent this year, and I think they got a chance to win this game. So I will obviously take them to cover. Michael thinks that I need to pick first because I'm just going to pick the same thing that you guys pick. That has proven true so far, but to be fair, everybody's picked everything the same. So it's not just
not a lot of shakeup in the rankings this week.
Right. All right. We've got UND going to Illinois State, and UND is a 2-point favorite on the road.
This is the spicy meatball. Are you freaking kidding me? This is why Indiana State, at least there's a chance that the Panthers pull it out for Farley and have the emotion, all this stuff. This is moronic. Who the hell decided to make UND a 2-point favorite? Are you out of your goddamn minds?
So the model also has a roughly 2-point spread, but it's in favor of the Redbirds. So it will take the Redbirds. I will too. UND's not playing for anything but pride and to maybe save Bubba's job. Illinois State's playing for a top 16 seed and to probably get to travel to Drake, which would just be hilarious that the Pioneer League champion gets to host a playoff game finally. But first round regionality, if you look at some of the teams on the bubble, that's like Indiana State's probably going to Drake if they win this one, and I think that's hilarious. So I hope it happens. I'll take Illinois State to win. I said Indiana State. I meant Illinois State, obviously.
Yeah, give me Illinois State on the road at Drake all day of the week. That'll be great. But in all seriousness, I don't understand how UND's favored in this game. Look, I'm not like a huge proponent that I think I've said multiple times that Illinois State's not that good, but UND's god awful on the road. They've got a coach on the hot seat. They have nothing to play for. There's probably a healthy amount of that roster looking at their transfer portal options already. None of this spells UND favored. I don't.
I do.
Illinois State's going to win by 10 or more. Did we forget this is a UND team that lost to Youngstown on the road and then lost to Indiana State on the road? Like, who the hell set this line? Like, no, this is the spicy meatball for sure. Illinois State doesn't just cover; they win by 10 plus.
I agree. If you can find this line somewhere, go bet a lot of money on it. Illinois State being an underdog in this game is free money, literally. So we will all agree on that one as well. Another game that is big but may not have big implications is NDSU going to USD, and NDSU is favored by 5.5 on the road. Do we think this game even matters?
I think it's huge for the Oats. I think it
Yes.
doesn't matter for NDSU at all. NDSU is the 1 or 2, unless they get blown out, which is not going to happen. They could lose. I think this is going to be a good game. I kind of wish our game was. Well, I'm also flying out Saturday too, so it wouldn't matter anyhow. But I kind of wish our game was earlier or later, or this game was later, because I might have just driven to see this game to see good football, which is even more hilarious that it 9,000 seat stadium hasn't sold out yet, me thinking that as a casual observer, but separate discussion entirely. NDSU loses close. They're still probably going to be the 2 seed. If they win, they're still going to be the 1. The big difference is for USD. If USD wins, they're probably the 4. If they lose, depending on how they lose, they're anywhere from like 6 to 12, which is a huge difference, especially from 4. What are your guys' thoughts before we get into the picks? I kind of rambled there.
Does it determine where we would have to go in the semis?
I don't think. I don't see.
It's if we go to Bozeman
USD.
or Fargo, I guess.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's big.
I don't. Yeah. Well, yeah, it would. It would make the difference of if we're going to Bozeman or Fargo. NDSU wins, we're probably going to Bozeman. USD wins, we're going to Fargo. I'm with Alex. It's everything for USD except the reward that they probably want most, and that's being seated ahead of NDSU.
Or us, and neither will happen.
Because the trifecta of doom happened. I had a group of buddies of mine that this would happen playing NHL on Xbox all the time. One would beat the one, would beat the one, would beat the one, and it just went that way until it would like flip for no reason. But yeah, I think this is huge for USD. USD is in a spot where they could end up like 2021 when us in 2021, everybody knew we were probably top 4 caliber team. Like, you knew that watching that team, but they dropped games they shouldn't. They didn't have the wins, and they ended up on the road the whole time. And if USD loses this game, that's what's going to happen. And it's not fair, but if you want a fair, that's where you get corn dogs and cotton candy. That's not the FCS playoff selection process. You don't get to be a top 4 seed just because, well, we think we watch, they look like they are. No, you have to win some goddamn games that matter, or you are not a top 8 seed. And if they lose this game, I have a hard time. Like, and here's the thing that really, this is where it really bites them, that Portland State backed out because of whooping cough. They'll only have 7 D1 wins. I mean, that is borderline. That's a really low number of wins in a 12-game season to make the playoffs, let alone get seeded in a 12-game season. And because they played a D2 as well. So that's kind of, some of it's Portland State, but also if you play a D1 instead of Northern, this isn't an issue. It's not a problem. You'd have 8 wins, and you kind of did it to yourself.
They got a little unlucky with their Valley schedule, though, to be fair. How often can you go 4-0 against UND, Youngstown, UNI, and SIU and come away with 0 ranked wins?
Right. And I agree. And I don't think they're going to get punished. Rev says the committee won't punish them as hard for that, though. And I agree. I don't think they're going to get punished per se. But, it's one of those things. Do you go and give someone giving someone a break and moving them up to say a 5, even though they beat nobody? Now you are punishing other teams who did actually play that many games. So you can't do that. It's not so much. It's kind of like when some teams go, well, we won and we dropped. Well, yeah, but the team who passed you beat the number 3 team in the country. You're not getting punished. They're getting rewarded, but people can't see that. It's kind of the same thing. And Ron, you can say like Augustana, if we would have had a game cancel and only had 7 wins, sure, same thing. And I'm pretty sure Montana State doesn't have a sparkling record of difficult out-of-conference schedules, Mercy Hearst. So sit down and sit in the corner with your hat on.
USD's strength of schedule actually is pretty high, Rev. It is 10th.
Yeah, it's high. And let's be honest, a lot of the Valley's SOSs being high is directly correlated to NDSU, SDSU, and USD.
Great.
Just getting to play those teams really pumps up your SOS, and it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy in a point that way, because that makes the other teams you play in the conference look better too. But yeah, this is everything for USD, and it is borderline nothing for NDSU as far as what it'll cost. I mean, I'm sure they don't want to be the 2 seed and have to face SDSU in the semifinals. But beyond that, I mean, it's kind of the results there, which sucks. It's, and Dimas, you say they shouldn't be punished for the disease of third world Portland. Sure. But you can't act like you can't pretend that it did happen or pretend that it didn't happen and punish other teams that actually played more games. You just can't.
Maybe this is a hot take, but does a Portland State one really even, other than the extra D1 win, does it move the needle that much? Portland State sucks.
It probably makes it easier to keep them in the top 8 seeds because they'd have 8 wins. But beyond that, I mean, it doesn't do that much. But I think it would matter. I think saying it doesn't matter that much is not entirely truthful, because it would matter. I think it makes it a lot. They're pretty much locked into, I think, the top 8 seeds if they had that win. But it's not fair, but that's reality. They have 71 wins. That's the reality.
I really hope they get the 7. I hope they don't get the 6, just because I'm confident we could beat them in a rematch, but I'd rather not have to. I hope they get the 7 so that in the semis we get whoever wins that game off a super freaking physical matchup. That would just be awesome. I honestly kind of hope they get the 7 for that reason.
That would be a nasty road for Montana State to have to go USD and SDSU back to back.
Oh, that'd be tough. That would be a not fun time.
I mean, because you could, that's like the number 3 and number 4, by power ranking team in the country, probably. So,
yeah. So Red says their 7 D1 wins are better than just about all of UIW's. I think a lot of people are underestimated just how dog shit half of the Valley is. They're
it's
awful.
That's true.
They're not just bad. They're terrible.
UIW has some decent wins. They had, to give you your own flowers, Rev, they had SFA before Vidlac got hurt. That was a borderline playoff team. They had SLU, who's going to finish on the bubble. They beat NAU, who probably will be on the bubble too. I mean, it's not a standard resume, but it's better than what a lot of other teams are going to be bringing to the table in that discussion, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, what it comes down to is everybody knowing that they're, and this is the part that annoys me is nobody had this problem when
Who was after?
SDSU didn't
Oh,
make
my
the
bad.
top 8 in 2021 because it was their fault. They didn't win big games. They dropped games they shouldn't.
Yeah, I had
But
no issue with it.
everybody knew that they were, top 8 quality. I mean, I remember distinctly Matt Frazee saying on the FFN show that the possibly best unseeded team of all time, which is arguable considering they were on the road, made it to the semis in 3 different time zones.
That's kind of be a fun off-season discussion with us versus NDSU last year. Anyhow,
yeah. So, it it's not fair, but it is what it is. I mean, you have to go. You have to go off of what happened. And I think you don't, I don't think they deserve to be like a 16 seed. They probably I think they get like a 9, 10 if they lose, if they lose by a lot.
So it's 6 to 12, depending what happens with the rest of the country. If Idaho,
Right.
Mercer, and UIW all win, they're not better than the 7 or 8, which just is what it is.
Well, and for all this conversation we're having here, the reality is the last weekend, there's always a ton of bubble teams that lose that shouldn't lose. Well, maybe not this year. There's not a lot of SoCon teams on the bubble anymore.
Kevin's not even in the chat tonight to get all fired up about that.
the Zynga. They did that last week. No, but hopefully a bunch of CAA teams lose and get upset. That'd be great.
Yeah, we don't need
it just stops existing.
5 of those. My gosh.
All right, we got to pick this game. This is turning into a late night with Borg episode here.
It is not.
Oh, it is.
This is how you guys. I'm going to make you go on with Borg.
This is how you guys go for 2 hours.
Sit on for 2 hours. And
I've done the Borg show before too. Ben does not know what he's talking about. Yep. So anyhow, if you want to, what was the line again, Benjamin?
NDSU by 5.5 in the Dakota Dump.
Model says Bison, but just by 3.5, so it will pick Yotes to cover. That is a line I don't want to touch. If we're going to actually do a quick breakdown of the actual game, I think it's a really interesting matchup just because USD's run defense is really, really good. And NDSU are reverse of what they typically are. Wants to throw the ball almost a little bit. Cam Miller's obviously having this Walter Payton winning season, and he could really secure that this weekend. But it's really been interesting if NDSU can still stay balanced, because it's one thing to drop back 50 times versus 20 to 30. That's a huge difference in the flow of a game. And on the flip side, I think NDSU's weakness still, if you can call it that, about a team that's ranked number 1, has still been their secondary a little bit. But I also think USD's rushing offense is better than their passing offense. That's not a knock on Aiden Bauman or their receivers. They're all very capable. But I don't think Aiden Bauman and their receivers are as good as Travis Tice and Charles Pierre. So with that said, I think the experience of having been in some of these moments really shows up for NDSU. I think you saw it a little bit against us in that overtime of it was that big moment and USD wasn't ready for it yet. That program, that team, they're talented. They're not to that point yet. I'll pick Bison to cover 5.5. I don't feel good about it, but I will stick to my guns there.
Yeah, I hate picking this game with a 5-point spread because I agree with Garrett Miter, who says either JSD by 4 or NDSU by 17. I don't see any in between. I could really see this easily getting out of hand for NDSU if they jump on them and score touchdowns right away and get up by 14. That whole dome is gonna, and here we go again, same old thing. But what I'm curious in is, can USD's defense deliver the similar performance to what they did in Brookings? Can they do that again? against a very good team, and force a team to do that while they try to hammer them with their run game and wait for Aiden Bauman to be able to hit them deep on a couple shots. This is a really tough one. I truly believe USD is good enough to win this game. I really do. I could see their pass rush on the edge, which is more aggressive than they have more aggressive
Grace
style.
is monster here.
Right. Where if they're able to keep Cam Miller contained, that aggressive pass rush can get to him. It's just a different style of defense than what we run. And I think that could cause problems if they're able to stop Cam Miller from killing him with his legs as well. He is healthy again. And that is a huge problem. That could be potentially a huge problem for USD. But I think NDSU wins. I think they win by 7. I think NDSU wins by 7. Give me NDSU, even though there's a part of me that's screaming it's USD at home. They haven't beat NDSU at home since the year 2000, which is backwards since they've won at NDSU with a terrible program twice. But they can't ever pull off one at home. So I will go ahead and I guess I will take NDSU to cover. I don't love that pick though.
It's a tough pick. I agree with you guys completely. However, I do think that Cam Miller's playing on a really, really high level, and I see him being the difference in this one. Yes. I think he does enough. I think he gets some scrambling going, makes some plays late in the game to seal it, and I think they cover late. But I think it's a close game most of the way. I think like Brendan said, I think USD is a good team, and I think they do have a chance to win this game, but I will take NDSU as well. All right. Last but not least, we've got South Dakota State going to Missouri State. Missouri State's last game in the FCS, and they are 15-point dogs at home.
Do we have any more JIAI before we pick this one?
Of course we do. We have somebody said they wanted a JIAI of Brendan covering his back door.
Oh, no.
I got that. It's about as PG as it gets.
Hey, you.
And I do like by the way, I like the live JIAI suggestion. So if you ever got one, I can usually make them pretty quick. So let me know if you need one, and we'll get it by the end of the show.
If you're wondering how much time he doesn't put into these.
Right.
Anyway, and then we've got the Jackrabbits telling the Bears goodbye from the FCS. That's all I got.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.
What was that spread again?
Way back file.
15.
15. Model says good guys by 14 even, so it will just barely take the Bears to cover. I'll disagree. Like Damian pointed out, the Bears defense is not good. It hasn't been good all year. It hasn't shown up when it's mattered. We should, knock on wood, we should be able to go through them like a wet paper bag offensively. Their offense might put up some yards and points, but when we drag them into deep water, we'll beat them by 15 easy, in my opinion.
Geez, you just want to end up on a hype video at this point, don't you?
What?
I'm just testing out if they're actually listening.
Did the model? What the model take?
Model took the Bears to cover, but only by a point.
They did. Okay. Brendan, what do you got?
Yeah, I'll take the Jacks in this one. Wow, I usually am more suspenseful for that, but I guess I'm just coming out right away. I do think Missouri State will be able to score some more points since they're at home and make this more of a game. But I do, man, Mark's been in his bag now for the last 3-4 games. Ever since the USD game, really, he's been on. And this offense with Mark on his game is deadly, especially against a defense that does tend to give up a lot of points. So I like the Jacks to put up in somewhere in the mid 40s and probably give up like 21 or so, but give me the Jacks cover that 15.
21, you say? Just
21.
Nobody's got confidence in that SDSU defense.
No confidence in the defense in this game. They're a passing, high, up-tempo offense, and this reminds me a little bit of Incarnate Word. I could see them using that no huddle really at home, no huddle to try to stop us from being able to rotate people out, try to take advantage of what Incarnate Word did. And, I could see that leading to some points for him, but I have faith in the offense.
Like Matt and I both talked about, Jacob Clark, if Missouri State got more national attention, is probably having probably not Peyton winning, but Peyton nominated type season. He's been that good.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
My dream type of football game's happening right now on TV, I guess. That Brown Steelers game's got some fat snow coming down and it's sick on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Sorry. Completely unrelated.
That's all right. How's McCormick doing?
Say, how's Mason playing?
I haven't seen that. I'm sure, he's been being a stud all year, so.
That's true. I will take SDSU to cover. I don't think that Missouri State scores more than 14, and I don't see SDSU scoring less than 31. So that leads to us winning by at least 17 points, and spread's only 15. SDSU to cover.
There's Zach still in the chat. The only other thing I was going to say is, I know Zach's also a fight fan. It's going to be kind of, I think, from us, like a vintage GSP fight. Like, you get that one shot, whether it's a long Angel or Amar Johnson run, and you really hurt them, and they're just, like I said, they're in deep water, they're out of their element, and then the finishing blows, just whether that's a turnover or another long run, they just come.
And there is the factor that we haven't talked about for our guys, but we mentioned about NDSU, or I think the Hair Razor guys really talked about it, that part of that game was NDSU venting some frustration on, you think you're FBS, huh? Let's see about it. And that is, I think, if you're not the best team and going up to FBS and you've been perennially not a great program, and then you have to go to the best teams and play them, they're probably going to feel a certain way about that when they face you of, you're FBS. Really? Well, let's see if you are. And probably a little bit of sass in there from the Jack side of things where they're going to come out to prove a point. I think it hasn't been talked about, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's that feeling in there, because I know I'd feel that way. I'd be like, oh, really? Oh, you're FBS? All right. Let's see. Let's just find out. So I think that is a potential. It could get ugly if things go our way.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope we get up early and we can get some starters out and get an extended bye week.
Especially since I have a flight taking off at 5. Like, if the game could be out of reach by the time I board, that would be appreciated, boys.
Alex paying for that in-flight Wi-Fi, baby, to watch that game.
So I hope I'm not. I hope it's out of hand. I don't even have to consider it. But
I'm just hoping. I'm going to judge a robotics competition up at SDSU on Saturday. So Saturday morning. So it'd be interesting to check that out. A bunch of high schools, I guess, coming to compete.
I've done that a few times down in Vermillion, actually, for my nephews. It's pretty fun. Kids come up with some cool stuff.
Nice. All right.
Make up some ribbons that say "you suck" and hand them out to the ones that are worst. Like if it doesn't work or something, really destroy some confidence. You've got that power,
right?
Well, what's great is they're bringing me in as like an industry expert, and I'm just gonna be like, yeah, you just maybe don't go into engineering.
Time out.
What robotic stuff do you do?
Hey, Brendan and I actually work with robots.
Hey, you guys can go. I'll sign you up. You guys can go cover for me then.
I said I've done it before, but
All right, we need to end this thing. This thing went way over. And I said that scared money don't make money. It will never go an hour. It went an hour.
You're the one who
Twice
wanted to
this
fight
year.
on this podcast. You're the one who
Not
wanted to have an
happy about
argument.
Anyway, yeah, go Jacks. Going to be a fun weekend. Got the selection show on Sunday. Tune into the FCS Fans
FFN
Nation. They will have their selection reaction show going on simultaneously. And I believe there's going to be something going on the FFN on Saturday night as well. Or no, excuse me, Sunday night.
Yep.
Sunday night.
Yep.
To react to the bracket, apparently at the same
A-team.
time as the A-team. Thanks a lot, Rev.
Boo, Rev. Just trying to. It's fine. Just steamroll us with the big boy show, Rev. That's fine. Whatever. I wouldn't. It's fine. It is what it is. Of course, Borg and I will be going late. I've never done an 8-ball of cocaine before, but in order to stay up that long, I don't know. Maybe we find out what Brendan's like on cocaine. I don't know.
Aren't you going to be in Springfield?
Yeah. I'm going to be in a hotel lobby, so.
Even better.
You should just get some powdered sugar and just have it through the show go down. What?
I might. Anyways.
Sitting there like Tony Montana.
All right. This show's off the rails.
Just start slowly talking faster and faster and faster when I'm talking to the board.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks for all the comments. Appreciate it. As Jim says, as we always say, go big, go blue, go Jacks.
Go Jacks.
Go Jack.